In India, the concept of single citizenship is adopted from option 1 England, option 2 USA, option 3 Canada, option 4 France. The correct answer is England. The Indian constitution borrows such features as parliamentary form of government, introduction of speaker and his role, the concept of single citizenship, the rule of law, procedure of lawmaking, etc. from England. The Indian citizenship and nationality law and the Constitution of India provide single citizenship for all of India. Next, a federal structure for India was first put forward by the option 1 Act of 1909, Act of 1919, Act of 1935, Act of 1947. The correct answer is Act of 1935. The Government of India Act 1935, the voluminous and final constitutional effort at governing British India, articulated three major goals: establishing a loose federal structure, achieving provincial autonomy, and safeguarding minority interests through separate electorates. The federal provision intended to unite princely states and British India at the center were not implemented because of ambiguities in safeguarding the existing privilege of princes. In February 1937, however, provincial autonomy became a reality when elections were held. Next, the drafting of the constitution was completed on option 1 26 January 1950, second 26 December 1947, third 26 November 1949, and or 30 November 1949. The correct answer is 26 November 1949. A draft constitution was prepared by the committee and submitted to the assembly on 1947 or 4th November. Next, who was the president of the Constituent Assembly? Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Patel, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, or Dr. B.R. Ambedkar? The correct answer is Dr. Rajendra Prasad. The first temporary two-day president of Constituent Assembly was Dr. Sachidanand Sinha. Later, Rajendra Prasad was elected president of the Constituent Assembly. Public order as an item in the Constitution figures in the union list, the state list, the concurrent list, or the residuary powers. Correct answer is the state list. Public order as an item in the Constitution figures in the state list under 7th schedule of the Constitution. Which among the following states has the highest number of seats in the Lok Sabha? Option 1 Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal. The correct answer is Maharashtra. Maharashtra has 48 seats among all these states. Who was the first chairman of Indian Constitution's drafting committee? B.L. Mitter, Madhav Rao, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, T.T. Krishna Namachari. The correct answer is Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. The Government of India Act 1935 provided for diarchy at the center. Under this act, the executive authority of the center was vested in the governor. It ended the system of diarchy at the provincial level introduced by Government of India Act 1919. In which year the Constituent Assembly of India started functioning? Option 1 1945, 1946, 1947, or 1948. The correct answer is 1947. On 29th August 1947, the Constituent Assembly set up a drafting committee under the chairmanship of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar to prepare a draft constitution for India. The Constituent Assembly adopted the constitution on 26 November 1949 once the process of drafting was completed. Next, where is the Indian Constitution has economic justice been provided as one of the objectives? Options are mental rights, directive principles, fundamental rights, and it should be fundamental duties. The correct answer is directive principles. The directive principles are an amalgam of diverse subjects embracing the life of the nation and include principles which are general statements of social policy, principles of administrative policy, socio-economic rights, and a statement of international policy of the country. Articles 41 to 43A and Article 48 specifically target the working sections of the nation and provide all the betterment of the workers and their living conditions. Next, which one of the following is not enumerated as a right in the Constitution of India? Options are political and social rights, educational rights, economic right, right to religion. The correct answer is economic right. Political groups have demanded that the right to work, the right to economic assistance in case of unemployment, old age, and similar rights be enshrined as constitutional guarantees to address issues of poverty and economic insecurity, though these provisions have been enshrined in the directive principles of state policy. Next, in which schedule of the Indian Constitution powers of panchayats are stated? Options are 8th schedule, 9th schedule, 10th schedule, or 11th schedule. The correct answer is 11th schedule. The powers of panchayat are stated in the 11th schedule of Indian Constitution. 8th schedule of Constitution enlists 22 Indian recognized languages, whereas 9th schedule was added by First Amendment in 1957. It contains acts, orders related to land tenure, land tax, railways industry. And the 10th schedule was added by 52 Amendment in 1985, contains provision of disqualification of grounds of defection. The directive principles of state policy was adopted from the options British Constitution, Swiss Constitution, US Constitution, or Irish Constitution. The correct answer is Irish Constitution. The principles have been inspired by the directive principles given in the Constitution of Ireland and also by the principle of Gandhism, and relate to social justice, economic welfare, foreign policy, and legal and administrative matters. The makers of the Constitution of India were influenced by the Irish nationalist movement. Hence, the directive principles of Indian Constitution have been greatly influenced by directive principles of state policy. Next, which one of the following is the guardian of fundamental rights? Options are legislature, executive, political parties, or judiciary. The correct answer is judiciary. Fundamental rights are those rights and freedoms of the people of India which enjoy constitutional recognition and guarantee. The Supreme Court of India and state high courts have the power to enforce fundamental rights. Supreme Court is the guardian protector of fundamental rights. The right to move to the courts for securing the fundamental rights is a very valuable right of the people. Citizens can go to the Supreme Court or the High Courts for getting their fundamental rights enforced, empowers the courts to issue directions or orders of writs for this purpose. Next, list of fundamental duties were added to the Indian Constitution as Part 4, 5, 2, or 3. Correct answer is 4. The Constitution 42nd Amendment Act 1976 added 10 fundamental duties of Indian citizen to the nation in Part W of the Constitution. These duties set out in Part 4A of the Constitution under constitutional amendment concern individual and the nation. Like the directive principles, they are not legally enforceable. Next, under which one of the following reads an official can be prevented from taking an action which he is officially not entitled? Options mandamus, quo warranto, certiorari, habeas corpus. The correct answer is mandamus. Mandamus is a judicial remedy which is in the form of an order from a superior court to an government subordinate court, corporation, or public authority to do or forbear from doing some specific act which that body is obliged under law to do or refrain from doing, and as the case may be, and which is in the nature of public duty and in certain cases of statutory duty. It cannot be issued to compel an authority. Directive principles of state policy in the Indian Constitution were taken from the Constitution of options Canada, Britain, Ireland, USA. The correct answer is Ireland. The makers of the Constitution of India were influenced by the Irish nationalist movement. Hence, the directive principles of the Indian Constitution have been greatly influenced by directive principles of state policy as enshrined in the Irish Constitution. As per Indian Constitution, the right to property is a options fundamental rights, natural rights, legal right, moral right. The correct answer is legal right. The 44th Amendment of 1978 deleted the right to property from the list of fundamental rights. So it is now a legal right, not a fundamental right. Fill up the blanks. Right dash duties. The options are obstructs, instructs, implies, or opposes? The correct answer is implies. Rights imply certain duties. For example, if one has the right to follow one's own religion, it is one's duty to allow others to follow their own. Rights and duties are equally important, and that is why our constitution has laid down certain duties for the citizens along with rights. How many fundamental rights were granted initially? Options are 6, 7, 4, or 5. The correct answer is 7. The Constitution of India initially recognized 7 fundamental rights: right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, cultural and educational rights, right to constitutional remedies, and right to property. Under the 44th Amendment Act, right to property ceased to be a fundamental right. How liberty can be limited? Options: by rule, by law, by authority, or by equality. The correct answer is by law. Liberty is one of the human rights, which, in the words of John Locke, consists of being free from any superior power on earth. However, it is non absolute and can be limited by law or restricted in certain circumstances where there is a need to take into account the rights of other individual or wider society. The truth is, modern laws permit only limited forms of liberty. Next, when was 0 hour introduced in the parliamentary affairs in India? Options are 1952, 1972, 1982, 1962. 0 hour in parliament starts at 12 noon, during which members raise matters of importance, especially those that cannot be delayed. 0 hour is the Indian innovation in the field of parliamentary procedures and has been in existence since 1962. However, it does not find mention in the rules of procedure. During 0 hour, questions are asked about issues of public importance without prior permission. These questions are usually directed against individual ministers. The maximum number of members of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha has been fixed by the Constitution of India respectively as: options are 500 and 250, 525 and 270, 537 and 275, or 545 and 250. The correct answer is 545 and 250. The Indian Parliament consists of two houses called as Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha respectively, and the President of India. The Constitution provides that the maximum strength of the House be 552 members. It has a term of 5 years. At present, the strength of House is 545 members. The Rajya Sabha can have a maximum of 250 members in all. Elections to be it are scheduled and the chamber cannot be dissolved. Next, what is the maximum time interval permissible between two successive sections of the parliament? Options are 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, or 9 months. The correct answer is 6 months. The period during which the House meets to conduct its business is called a session. The Constitution empowers the President to summon each House at such intervals that there should not be more than 6 months gap between the two sessions. Hence, the Parliament must meet at least twice a year. In case the President wishes to resign, to whom he is to address his resignation letter? Options: Chief Justice of India, Secretary of Lok Sabha, Vice President, Prime Minister. The option is Vice President. Article 56 of Indian Constitution states that the President shall hold office for a term of 5 years from the date on which he enters upon his office, provided that the President may, by writing under his hand, address to the Vice President, resign his office. The President may, for violation of Constitution, be removed from office by impeachment in the manner provided in Article 61. And the President shall, notwithstanding the expiration of his term, continue to hold office until his successor enters upon his office. Second, any resignation addressed to the Vice President under Clause 1 of the provision to Clause 1 shall forthwith be communicated by him to the Speaker of the House of the People. The last question. The voting age in India was lowered from 21 years to 18 years through options: presidential ordinance, constitutional amendment, executive order, or parliamentary legislation. The answer is constitutional amendment. The minimum age of voting in India was lowered from 21 to 18 years by the 61st Amendment Act in 1988. Read with Article 21 of 1989. Thanks for watching.